Hello, and thanks for joining me. I'm happy to be here to talk about winning with Wide tools for publishing success with Draft to Digital. I am Kevin Tumlinson, the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for D2D, and I'm thrilled to be here. And I'm glad you're tuning in. So I hope we have something really great to share with you, something that will help improve your writing and author career. I'm looking forward to it. So let's jump right in. So first of all, if you'd like a copy of this presentation, you can go to d2d.tips/spc20 and you'll find, I put it in various formats in there, so you can find a PDF, you can find a keynote, and you can find a PowerPoint version of the presentation. So feel free to download that if you want to kind of look a little closer at some of what we go over. So first up, I want to clarify just one thing, just in case, and by now you probably are well aware of these terms, but I always, whenever I'm discussing this stuff, I want to make sure that we're all starting on the same page. So we're going to be talking about exclusivity versus going wide, and the first thing I want to do is talk about defining our terms. So exclusivity, according to Draft to Digital, is you are contractually obligated to distribute to only one vendor/sales channel, and most of the time we mean Amazon's KDP Select. So you've probably heard of this, and most people end up referring to it as Kindle Unlimited or KU. And this is a service that Amazon offers, and I believe it's $9.99 per month, and subscribers are able to download as many books that are in the KU library as they want. I think 10 at a time, but they can read those, return them, and check out more. So it's sort of an unlimited library of a sort. And the great thing about it, for authors who are enrolled in it, is that authors get paid for page reads. Now, that actually can end up adding up quite a bit. So it is kind of a nice way to make some money, especially if you've only got one or two books. So that I don't ever want to discourage anyone from checking it out. But there are some disadvantages to being exclusive, and we'll talk about those in just a second. But I guess this could be considered a disadvantage, that you are obligated to remain with Amazon exclusively for 90 days. And that means you can't distribute to anyone other than Amazon. That's what exclusivity means. There are other versions of exclusivity out there, but the one that we are usually referring to when we say exclusivity, it's almost always Amazon KDP Select or KU. Now, when we say wide, we mean wide distribution, and that means you are free, absolutely free to distribute to any and all retailers. So you can put your ebook out there anywhere you want, your own website if you want. KU terms actually say that you can't sell or distribute your book, even distribute it for free from your own website. So there are some limitations involved in that, and that can kind of limit you on your marketing options sometimes. So probably a good idea to consider wide distribution. Some of the advantages of being wide, one of them is greater discoverability. I don't know a single author who got into this business who who said, "I can't wait to write books for a living and only distribute them to people who read on Amazon's Kindle platform." For the most part, people don't grow up dreaming about that. Now, that said, Amazon, I should point out, they don't actually reach all markets worldwide. So if your goal is to be distributed to every country on the planet, you're out of luck with KU. Whereas with wide distribution, you can actually distribute everywhere. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So being wide also allows you to avoid the dangers of Amazon's changing business practices. This is something that has really bitten a few of us in the behind a few times over the years. Me in particular, I've actually had issues. I just one off the top of my head is Audible. Amazon owns Audible, and when they changed their terms, suddenly I went from receiving a 50% cut on my book to only 40%. Which that wasn't why I got in, and I faced a 7-year exclusive agreement with those guys. So Something to consider. Exclusivity sometimes can, come around and bite you. So, all right. So let's take a look at publishing and distribution, and we're I'm gonna admit we're gonna be focused primarily on how Draft to Digital helps you with these things. But first up, publishing your book with D2D. We have tons of tools available that make it a lot easier for you to publish your work wide. Uh, and we'll talk about some of the markets here in a moment, but for the most part, we try to make this as easy as possible. Even now that we offer D2D print as well as ebooks, we try to make this whole process painless and simple and easy for you so that you can reach retailers all over the world. This page that you're seeing on your screen now, this is like this is the gateway to coming into Draft to Digital. Once you've started your account, opened your account, filled out the tax information, we give you a what we call a tax interview. And this applies no matter what nation you're in. So we have to abide by all tax laws and other applicable laws. So when you come in to Draft to Digital, you'll fill out a tax interview and you'll fill out some other account information. You'll tell us how you want to be paid, and we'll guide you through that with some really pretty easy walkthroughs. And then you'll eventually, when you decide it's time for you to publish your book, you'll create a new book and you'll land on this page. And this page is where you enter all the basic like metadata for your book. Metadata being a fancy word for all the details that are largely behind the scenes for your book. But it includes things like your book's title. If you have a series, you would enter the name of the series here. You would tell us what volume the book is, so book 1, book 2, book 3, etc. You can choose your publisher name, and you can create your own publishing imprint with Draft to Digital. All you have to do is type in the name. You can even type in a biography of your publishing imprint of sorts if you want. And then you basically create your author profile during setup, but you can actually have pen names, multiple author names. You can do quite a bit there, but you would select which author is on your list, and you can actually have multiple authors on your list now. We've got some new features that allow you to do that. So co-authoring is something we can do now. I'll talk about that a little later as well. I'm talking about a whole bunch of stuff a little later. But here on this page, you would also choose your BISAC categories. So I write thrillers. I would choose thrillers and whatever sub genre I think applies. I believe you can have up to 7 from here, but most retailers only use maybe the top 2 or 3. And the same with search terms. You can enter a bunch of search terms in that box. Prioritized. Everything gets prioritized by first, second, third. So whatever you want your primary search term or category to be should be the first thing. And then if you look at the bottom there, this is where things, we have 2 roads that diverge in the woods, as it were. You can start your ebook or start your print book. Now, right now, D2D print is still in beta, so you have to actually be in the beta to use D2D print. But we are getting very close to releasing that. There were still some bugs, not bugs on our part, frankly, bugs on the part of printers, etc. And as you may know, right now, the printing world is overtaxed. So we've been dealing with how to make that work for people. But print is on track and working great. I've been using it for the past couple of years, and my print books look amazing, come out amazing every time. So I'm very happy with it. So are, frankly, everyone who uses it. But at this point, if you're in the print beta, this is where you would choose your path. And everything after this is pretty much the same, no matter if you're in print or ebook. There's some slight, mostly aesthetic differences. But it's a guided tour through putting your book together. So, also on this page, I forgot to mention, you can either upload your front cover art, or you can tell us that you have front cover art, rather. Or you can say you don't have it yet. In certain circumstances, it's required, mostly in print. You can't go into the print process without a cover. So, and I'll explain that a bit as well. So, step 1 in this process is to upload your manuscript. We accept all these different formats, Doc and DocX, which are the Microsoft Word formats, RTF, which stands for rich text format, or rich text file rather. So that is the equivalent of a doc file on Word. It's rich text is something that pretty much every word processor can produce. But if you are ambitious and you've got your software figured out and everything, you can actually produce your own EPUBs. This is good so that you can upload those EPUBs that you generate maybe through Vellum or Calibre. I'm never sure how anyone's pronouncing that, or various tools. We actually don't like that Calibre and Calibre tool very much. It adds a lot of junk to the ebook file and can sometimes screw up layout. So just a word of caution there. But if you do have a formatted EPUB and you would prefer to do that rather than use our available templates and styles, or have us convert the manuscript for you, you can do that. It does limit you on certain features on the site, most notably the metadata stuff that we can do for you. We have automated in matter, so it would limit you on that sort of thing. But and also in some with choosing like our templates and that you wouldn't be able to choose a new template. But we will process that book for you and distribute it, no problem. So you can bring your EPUBs in. Here you can also choose your publication date, and if you choose a date that's in the future, you have just created a pre-order. So congratulations, and hope here's to your best-selling success. But you can hear all the metadata here, including the book's description. We have some limited like HTML formatting that you can do. Limited because the retailers themselves they vary, and so we kind of shoot for the middle and make sure that whatever you produce is going to be available on all retailers. But you can bold, italicize, underline, that sort of thing. Even create bullet lists if you want. That's particularly handy if you are say you're publishing nonfiction. So you can add additional authors. These are non-author contributors, actually, not authors. These are, sometimes people want to add that they had an editor or a cover designer. Little secret. I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. This is like that button in the elevator that says close doors. It's there for your peace of mind, but it doesn't actually do anything. And none of the retailers currently accept this bit of data. That's not us, that's just them. But we got the request so frequently that we went ahead and added a place for people to add that, so that if it does in the future turn out that information can be included in distribution, then we will absolutely include it for you. But for right now, it is just sort of a pacifier, we'll say. Now, the final thing that you can do on this page, and this is actually pretty cool. You can actually enter your own ISBN if you have one, or you can choose to get a free one via Draft to Digital. There's a lot of, I won't say controversy, but there are a lot of questions when it comes to your ISBN, whether you should pay for one, or some countries give you one for free, so absolutely get that free ISBN. We will give you a free ISBN. It doesn't mean anything in terms of ownership. We don't own your copyright. We don't own any rights to your book whatsoever. We will be listed with certain services, say the U.S. Library of Congress, as the publisher. But that can essentially be overridden by you including a publisher from that previous step. So we still have the publisher name on the ISBN itself, but no one ever sees that. So it is entirely your book, entirely your ISBN. You can even carry that ISBN forward with you as long as it remains an ebook. We always recommend getting a new ISBN if you're going to change services or whatever, but that ISBN effectively belongs to you at that point. So belongs to that book, frankly. Just that book, though, and only ebooks. So and another word of caution here: don't try to use your ebook ISBN for a print book, or your print book ISBN for an ebook. It will just cause problems. Trust me on this. All right. So step one, details. I don't know why the titles come in after, but I'll try to keep that in mind. So step two is layout. Now in this step, this is where you're going to get the auto-generated stuff that we can do for you. You'll see that there's a whole bunch of little selector boxes there. These are pretty cool. This is what we call our automated in matter. So you can select, if you just uploaded a Word doc and maybe it's not formatted as a book at all, this is where you could add a title page, copyright page, etc., dedication. The automated in matter stuff starts here at promotional pages. So also by is just what you probably already know this term, but it's books that are also by this author. What's cool about this is if you're publishing through Draft to Digital, when you publish a new book, we'll automatically update your also by if you're using that through us. So if you've got a series, every time you release a new book in that series, we'll go ahead and go back and update all the also by pages for all the other books in your series. As long as you've distributed through Draft to Digital, we can do that for you. So, and even if you're not distributing through Draft to Digital and you're just downloading the manuscripts to upload directly or whatever, which we do allow you to do, you can use all our tools for free and go direct or go through a whole other service if you want. We only make money when you distribute through us, but we're happy to let you use our tools however you like. So, because it's your book, your manuscript, you get to do what you want with it. But in that case, we would go ahead and update all the also buys that you've included in those books, but you'd have to manually re-download them all and go and upload them all, and so big advantage to using us to distribute, frankly. So now we have something we call new release email notifications or new release emails. New release notification is what they're most commonly called, NRNs. So this is not the same as having an email newsletter sign up, but it is similar in that we will collect a reader's email for you on your behalf, and we will send them notifications each time you release a new book. We cannot give you that email address currently. I mean, maybe down the road. We're working on ways we might be able to help authors with building their mailing lists, but this is not a mailing list. This is just similar to Amazon has something that supposedly will alert readers when a new book has come out by an author, though in my experience it never works. But this does work, and it will send you an email, or rather your readers an email each time that you release a new book, if they subscribe to it. So we'll include that. It's a little thing, a little link in the back of the ebook that readers can click on, and it lets them sign up for those notifications. A teaser, so if you have more than one book, you can tease tease an additional book in the back of your current release. And then the biographical pages, we have an about the author and about the publisher. So you can set all that up in advance and include that so that there's a little blurb with your photo. If you include the about the publisher, that gives information there and includes links and that sort of thing. So this is the page where you would make sure your table of contents looks right, that it's capturing all the pages. And there's a helpful little button there at the bottom. If you find a problem, you hit that button, and our customer support team will be right on it to help you out. Now, the support is available in the U.S. Central Time Zone during the weekdays from about, I believe it's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I believe. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll say 9 to 5 just to be safe. But for the most part, we're pretty fast about responding when we get stuff. But there's only so many of us, and there's millions and millions of you. So just be a little patient. But generally, within a couple of days, you've got something fixed. So and sometimes much faster depending on what the problem is. So. Best support team on the planet. Just going to say that. I know I'm biased, but before I even set foot through the Draft to Digital doors, I still thought we were the best. So just keep that in mind. So step 3 is the preview page. Here's where you get to do some fun stuff. This is where you take a look at how the book's coming together. And if you'll notice on the right, so first of all, let me point out that there's a little window there where you get to preview the book, and you can skip through, take a look, and this is where you would approve it and move on to the next step. But you can see how it's shaping up. You can see the titles and the things, little features and stuff. we offer things like drop caps, what do they call them, small caps, and that sort of thing. Little scene break decorations and stuff like that. I'll show you a couple of those in a second, but this is where you would choose your template. I got several examples of templates on the next page, but this is a cool feature. It's a little bit like Vellum, except ours is free and it is platform independent. You can actually use this. I've used this on mobile browsers. I've actually published from my phone, my iPhone, using this. So, uploading your manuscript, it will automatically format it, and it will spit that out as all the various the EPUB, MOBI, PDF, and that way you've got those documents you can download for yourself. You can see there, bottom right corner, you can download all of them and to use them any way you want, and it will have it in a nifty template to make it look just gorgeous for you. So once you've looked through the book and it's looking the way you want, you would hit that little checkbox there that says you've reviewed it, and you would click to save and go on. And this, there's a lot here and it's all crammed, I know, but this is these are some of the templates, and you can see like there's some nice, cool decorative stuff there. There are like decorative scene breaks that go in there. You can see that there's like drop caps and little dragons and all kinds of fun stuff. Even some color stuff. We've got a romance. You can see it there, a little tiny one kind of in the middle. It's actually a little pink bow. So there's some really cool stuff involved in this, and you can make your book look how you like. It's not customizable. Maybe down the road we'll be looking into that, but there are several templates here for a variety of genres, and you're sure to find something. It just gives your book a nice little pop. I mean, it's just like a nice extra that you just don't get that with anyone else. So cool thing to play around with. And the great news is when you choose a template, no matter which path you chose at the beginning, ebook or print, when you choose a template, that template carries over to both. So you can make your books, basically they're going to look and feel the same no matter what direction you chose from the beginning. So that's actually a lot of fun. I really like that. So, all right. So step 4 in the process is to publish. This is the thing we've been waiting for, right? So here we get to set our price. We can actually manage territorial prices here. The advantage of that is, let's say that I want to make the book available. It's in the U.S. at $6.99, but I want it to be available in India for 99 rupees, is it? I don't even recall. I'm sorry. But I want to make the price lower, or I want price per region. So I can do that here by clicking on that Manage Territorial Prices button. And then you can select your storefronts. Now we offer several options here. There's actually 3 sections. You're only seeing 2 right now. But here's where you can select individual storefronts if you want, or select them all by clicking the little box up top. And you can see that here's the big ones: Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple, Tolino, and Vivlio. And then we also can distribute to Amazon. There are a few more restrictions when it comes to Amazon. It's Amazon, of course. But and they have certain requirements, like it's not already on Amazon. That's a biggie. But there will be a little pop-up that warns you of certain things so that you can double check and make sure you're not in violation of Amazon's terms of service. We also offer subscription services like Scribd and 24 Symbols, and there's some others, and library services. So Biblioteca for one, Overdrive, to get you into thousands and thousands of libraries worldwide. We actually we can get you into every country in the world in one way or another. So we distribute to everywhere now, even some that have really heavy restrictions on content. So something to be aware of, by the way. So once you've set your price and made your books available, and by the way, these are selectable because you may choose to do things like, I'm going to distribute direct to Amazon and Kobo, but I want to use draft to digital for everything else. That's entirely up to you, and you have the power to do that. So now we want to take a look at D2D distribution. So we're gonna dive into this just a little more in a second, but we can get you every country worldwide. We hit all the major retailers. A few exceptions. We did have to take Google Play off out of the rotation. Um, Frankly, it's because Google doesn't want to play ball. They don't they won't agree to our terms that we don't want them adjusting author prices or book prices without the author's consent. So what was happening, and this happened several times, we would have authors price their book. Google would drop that price. Amazon would match that price. Google's policy is to always be lower than Amazon, so they drop it again, and eventually the book is free. And the author is being paid based on that price. So, yeah, not a great deal. And so, until they agree to let us act as a publisher with control over pricing, we can't yet include Google. So, but soon. Well, we're hoping to see them again. We thought it was great when we were able to add them before, but just couldn't do it. We have to look out for the authors. That's our policy. So, and our distribution, of course, includes libraries, which also includes schools, businesses, and communities. So, not just your public library, but even if you've got a book that's oriented towards a certain business sector, you might want to put it in schools and in universities and businesses. So, that is your option. So, just kind of expanding out on this a little. Our online retailers include everything you see here, and that is Biblioteca is one of the big ones. Overdrive, these are library distributors, Baker and Taylor, and then there's the subscription services. We're constantly adding, we're looking to add new retailers. We're being pinged all the time by retailers. We're very, very discerning when it comes to retail. We vet every single retailer. We want to make sure that they have a good history, that they are paying authors, paying on time. That there aren't a ton of complaints. We have ditched retailers. Believe me, we have taken retailers out of rotation more than once because they were not playing by the rules, or they were cheating authors or something similar. So we're out to look out for the authors, and we see ourselves as a guardian of the authors. So sometimes an author will ask, "How come you don't distribute to store X?" And we don't always give the reason, but there's always a reason why we don't distribute to a market. So we're out looking out for you. So D2D's Discoverability Treasure Chest is books to read. This is our essentially our. It's going to eventually be a reader-facing platform. It is already starting to become a reader-facing platform, but it is full of tools that are meant for authors to help promote themselves. Our discoverability philosophy is build more tools. That's just sort of what we do. Build, build, build. Improve on what we build, always making things better. Empower authors. That's our number one, even though it's number 3 on this list. We are all about making sure the author is empowered to do what they want to do. And repeat. So we're constantly doing this. It's an ongoing process to make sure that we are building tools and creating services that help independent authors get out there and reach their audiences more frequently and more profitably. So now that I know this is a text dense, the next couple of slides are pretty text dense. So feel free to download the presentation and read if you need it. But we are, as I said earlier, we're constantly looking to build new tools to help authors promote themselves. And a lot of these, most of it is being hosted through Books to Read. Bookstoread.com. And that's a sister site of ours. You can use the same login that you use for Draft to Digital to get in there. So you don't have to create new accounts. There's no charges or fees or anything. And while we don't do any actual direct marketing for authors, like we don't go out necessarily and help you market and create ads or any of that stuff, we do have a lot of resources and tools that we've built to help you promote yourself. So store promotions. So we have a merchandising manager. I'll elaborate on that in a bit too. But our merchandising manager is always looking for new store promotions with Apple, with Kobo, with anyone that we distribute to. And as you can imagine, like the retailers themselves are not always forthcoming with this stuff. Like there's a, I don't know why this is, but occasionally they get a little guarded about their promotions. Apple in particular. Apple has a lot of these promotions, and we have a great relationship with Apple. We probably have a better relationship with them than anyone else has with them. But they are very guarded about their promotions, to the point where they don't want us. They sometimes don't want us to share them. So it's very it's very tricky. But anyway, we have, if you, in the top right corner there, you can see we have a promotions tab. So when your book publishes, you gain access to this promotions tab, which has some certain useful things, including a link. You can get your universal book link from here. Universal book link is a single URL that lets you send your readers to everywhere a book is sold online. And it's aimed exclusively at ebooks at the moment. I say exclusively. It's aimed at ebooks at the moment, and now includes audiobooks. People are always asking about print, but there is actually some challenges to adding print in that, because Amazon kind of groups everything together, but other retailers don't. So there are some challenges to a UBL for print books, but for the most part, sending folks to your ebooks is going to benefit you a great deal more anyway. So that universal book link tool is very powerful. You can do things like include affiliate codes in a universal book link. So if you have an Amazon Associates account, or you have an affiliate relationship with Barnes & Noble or Kobo or Google or Smashwords or anyone else, you can include the codes in the URL. You just enter them one time on your account, and they're automatically included in the background. No one ever sees them. They don't muck up your URL or anything. Universal book links are also customizable, so you can. I mean, I have some that are like, just to use the examples on the page here. Like I have that title, "Girl in the Mayan Tomb." And I have I believe that the universal book link for that is bookstoread.com/Mayan Tomb. Now, the name has to be available, but I try to go for my book titles as much as possible, and that's very useful. And these are evergreen links. If you ever pull a book from a store or add it to new stores or whatever, you can come and rescan that universal book link, and we'll go out and find it. Or you can just drop copy and paste a link to a store in your universal book link, and it'll if it's one of the services we support, it'll include it. So very useful, and it's been a very versatile tool. So but on the promotions page, you can actually set up, you can see by the little example there, I got a couple of promotions set up for that book, one at a discounted price and one for free, and you've got the date ranges for that. So you can actually set up promotions from here, promotional pricing for a range of time, and that's proven to be very useful. And you can name those promotions as well, because you can see I have a BookBub feature deal coming up in October. So I've got a free BookBub deal, and I set the price to reduce to free on those dates. And then once it does, I'm golden. It's all automated. And then once it's run its course, it'll bounce back up to full price. So very useful. And you can also see sales and things, and not sales, but you can see how things are going. Like I've got you got charts and things to see your sales, and you can see actually generate reports and things like that. That's on a different section of the site, but you can see some data on this page as well. So D2D author pages are meant for those folks who maybe don't have an author page, or if they do have an author page, they can use this page for their, if they have a website, they can use this as like the author page on that website if they want. What's really cool about this is it includes things like you can put your photo, like your current profile picture, basically your headshot. It includes that and your name. You can have a link to get on your mailing list. There are links to follow you on social media. The book there at the top is what we call a hero book. So that's the focus of the page. That's the book you're currently promoting. So and you get some options there. Like that says latest release, but you can make that say pre-order or on sale now or on sale, limited time, something like that. And this uses the Universal Booklink tech to send people to a page where they can get that book wherever they prefer to read it. And you can see those little carousels down at the bottom of books. Um, these are divided right now. I've got them divided by series, but you can actually create carousels that are maybe the first book in a series, or maybe novellas, or break it up by genre. So there's a lot of options there. All of that is built on the Universal Booklink technology. Book tabs are kind of like a sales page. So that's the top left image, and that's what when people click on. Actually, the book tab is the bottom right image, but the Universal Booklink landing page is that image in the top left. That's where when they click on a Universal Booklink, when they type it into their browser, they'll be taken here and they can select which storefront they want to purchase that book from. So that's how that works. The book tab, it works kind of like a sales page. So it has the cover, it has a big buy it now button, and it actually will allow you to create little carousels down at the bottom, just like on the author page. So in this case, I've got two books that aren't necessarily, they're in a series of sorts, but these are nonfiction, and so I grouped them together under that Wordslinger series. But you could have pretty much any book you want there, or any series of books there. So, and of course, at the bottom of that page is another author bio and photo, and links to follow you. So very handy. We're going to talk about this in a little bit, but reading lists allow you to curate a customizable list of books, and they can be your books or someone else's books. They don't have to be yours. And if you've included affiliate links in your UBLs, then the reading list can actually be very handy. I actually recommend anyone who does, say, blogs and podcasts and YouTube videos about books in some way. Maybe they interview authors. I have a podcast, I interview authors, and I have a reading list that has all the books by all the authors I've interviewed. I have another reading list, and I'll discuss this on the next page actually, but I have another reading list that's all about thrillers, not just my thrillers, but thrillers of people that I am friends with, or just authors I admire. So, but if you're a blogger or something, you do book reviews, the reading lists are a great way to kind of get all those things, all those books in one place, so that people who read your reviews can click through and buy those books, and you get a little kickback from the affiliate dollars. So that's pretty handy. But you can use those things. I've attended conferences where they actually used our reading lists to create basically a conference book page, so that everyone who was speaking at the conference had their book advertised on this page, so that attendees could click through and buy any book they want. So it's a great way to raise some extra funds, a great way to support, say, your blog or video channel, or YouTube channel, or something similar. So very handy. And promotion pricing. So we talked about this a bit earlier, but you can set up a price reduction, and you can set its start and stop dates. So we already looked through that. So this is an example of a reading list, a D2D reading list. And as you can see here, so the header is customizable, so you can put your own graphic there. You can name the thing what you want. You can have a tagline, just like I have. And the way these things work, so the way I built this particular page, so I have a carousel that only has one book in it. You can create some text to the side of it. So that's the featured book. That's the way I built it. And then the under that heading, More Sleepless Nights, that's just a bunch of thrillers by people I know. So I put a bunch of my friends' books in there, and you can scroll. The reader can scroll through and see that. And down at the bottom is a hint of it, Icy Reads. So what I did was I eventually expanded this, but so I started including carousels of books that were, say, all themed around Antarctica, or all themed around the Mayans, or all themed around Atlantis. And so each carousel features books, my books and other authors' books, that feature those themes. So you can see how this can actually be very useful. So You can customize, just like everything else DDD does, you can customize the URL for these. So um, this was Thriller Cartel was the customized URL for this one. And again, all this stuff is built on our universal book links, which are incredibly handy. So we are continuously developing our tools to help promote authors, and one of those tools, she would kill me for saying it that way, I think, but is our new full-time merchandiser, and her name is Kara Tumlinson. If that name sounds familiar, it is because she is my beautiful wife. So she's been working with us now 2 or 3 months as our merchandiser, and she's actively out there talking to the retailers, getting to know them, finding out about whatever promotions they have coming up. She's done tons of stuff with Apple and Kobo. And what she does is email our authors and say, hey, there's this promotion and your book fits. Or she puts it out there, or we put it out there, or someone puts it out there that there's a promotion, and the authors can contact her. She has these forms that people can fill out to put their book in to be promoted. So that's a new development, and we're actually going to keep building on that as we go. But it's been a lot of fun. She and I are full-time van lifers, so we are traveling and working remotely everywhere here in the U.S. And she and I are often getting into discussions now about book merchandising and marketing because she's sort of learning the industry by doing this. She has a long history with another business. An entirely different market, basically. So she's kind of learning the book and publishing industry, but she's excelling at it, and I'm actually learning a few things from her as we go. So that's been a lot of fun. So we're about to wrap up, but before we do, I want to reveal something very cool that has been in the works at Draft Digital for quite some time. It's sort of our worst kept secret, but this is something that we have had multiple requests, thousands and thousands of people requested, frankly, over the years. We are very happy to finally be able to announce this. Now, it's currently in beta, but this is going to be one of our quickest turnarounds for a beta test of all time, because we are primed to release this as a full-fledged feature very soon. But I'm talking about our new D2D payment splitting. So this is something, we created something called D2D Shared Universes a couple of years ago that was meant to take the place of Amazon's Kindle Worlds, where if an author had a universe and wanted other authors to be able to write in that universe, there was a sort of payment splitting system in place so that they could invite an author as a contributor, and that contributing author would write a book set in that universe, and they would split their royalty with the universe owner. So that logically, people wanted to be able to use that for collaborations and things like that. It just wasn't quite designed for that. So we decided we'd better get to work and build something. So we now offer D2D payment splitting, and you can actually collaborate with 2 or more authors. We call the authors collaborators. Isn't that clever? And then the person who sort of runs the show may not be the universe owner in this case. So if you guys are all, doing collaborations or co-authoring or something like that, one of you would be the organizer, and you would determine the percent split that goes to you and all the other collaborators. Individual collaborators would have to set up an account and create their, go through the tax interview and set up their payments and all that, set up how they're going to be paid. So each individual author has to have a Draft Digital account to do this, even if they're not publishing anything else through D2D. But this is the sort of thing that we really knew co-authors and people doing anthologies and box sets and that sort of thing. We knew that this was going to be very popular, and so far it really has been. So we are. It says we're alpha testing, but we're actually in beta now. So we've already progressed through this in the time that I was developing this presentation. So, but that is now you can actually join this beta if you go to d2d.tips/psbeta. that, and make sure you type in HTTP, not HTTPS. I found out that that does not work properly. So, but anyway, you can go there. If you're already in the beta, it's going to take you to a different page, but you can go there and it's like a click of a button to be included. And essentially what you're saying is, please include me, and then you'll eventually, when we add you, you'll get an email that says you've been added to the beta. So it's more of a wait list thing, but it's a very short wait time at this point. So go and do that. d2d.tips/ps beta. Get in on the beta, and if you are interested in doing collaborations and that sort of thing. So, but at now we've come to the end, and I really appreciate you letting me have your time and spend some time speaking here. I wanted to let you know that we have a brand new podcast, actually. So what we do is we do these live interviews each week. We talk to an industry insider. So we've talked to quite a few really remarkable people. You can see here we talked to Kevin J. Anderson, Patricia McGlynn, and Joanna Penn from the Creative Penn podcast. We've talked to some big movers and shakers in the industry. We've talked to a bunch of the industry folks who, vendors and that sort of thing, service providers. So, and we talked to a ton of authors who are just, out there becoming huge success stories. So we've had quite a few interviews already, and it's really been fun to pull this together. What we do is, so we do the live broadcast and we rebroadcast that on a podcast, but there are all the YouTube videos and things floating around out there as well. So you can check us out at selfpublishinginsiders.com. The name of the show is Self-Publishing Insiders with Draft to Digital. So if you are a podcast listener, go and find that and subscribe. You can also go to the Draft to Digital YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/draft to digital, and make sure you subscribe on that channel as well. But this is one of the ways in which we are trying to, one of the things we're dedicated to is author education. We want to make sure authors know what's available to them, what's possible for them, and what, just generally what's out there that could help them, build, grow, and improve their author careers. And, we have a pretty unique insight into this as insiders ourselves. So we are thrilled to be able to offer this to you. It's all free. I mean, if you go to that website, it's actually currently pointed at the blog, to a tag on the blog with all the past episodes, so you can catch up. And there's dozens and dozens of them. So I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised and well educated by the time it's all done. So that is it. I am so thrilled to have been here to speak with you. I hope that you got something useful out of this presentation. And of course, make sure you go to selfpublishinginsiders.com, but also make sure you drop by drafttodigital.com and ask us questions if you need to. Check out the blog. Check out, we have video walkthroughs for the entire service on YouTube. So if I didn't answer a question thoroughly enough here, there's sure to be an answer floating around out there. So that is it. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the conference and a wonderful rest of 2020. Take care.